The skies above Earth darkened as the massive alien vessels materialized in orbit. The world held its collective breath. Communication systems worldwide simultaneously hijacked by the same ominous message. People of Earth, you now belong to the Keldorian Empire. Resistance is futile and will result in your extinction. Captain Maya Chen stood in the Pentagon's crisis room, watching as military leaders and politicians argued over the proper response. Satellite imagery showed 27 enormous vessels, each easily dwarfing humanity's largest aircraft carriers. Their obsidian hulls absorbed radar signals and seemed to bend light around them. The president looked ashen-faced as intelligence officers confirmed that nuclear launch facilities across the globe had been neutralized without firing a shot. They've somehow rendered our entire nuclear arsenal inert, General Santos reported. We're tracking similar reports from Russia, China, and every other nuclear power. They did it in seconds. Maya studied the tactical displays. As commander of the experimental starship Aurora, Earth's first vessel equipped with a prototype fusion drive capable of interplanetary travel, she recognized an opportunity amid the chaos. While the Aurora was designed for exploration, not combat, it possessed stealth capabilities that might allow them to gather critical intelligence. The Keldorians are broadcasting from their flagship, announced Communications Officer Javier Rodriguez. They're demanding Earth's formal surrender within 24 hours. The alien ambassador appeared on screen, a tall, slender being with opalescent skin and eyes like liquid mercury. Its voice resonated with an unsettling harmonic quality. Your species will serve a greater purpose within our empire. Accept your place, and you may continue a productive existence under our guidance. Resist, and you will join the extinct civilizations who foolishly opposed progress. As world leaders debated surrender terms, Maya slipped away to contact her crew. The Aurora was docked at the Lunar Research Station, nominally for upgrades. Far from Earth's main military installations, it had apparently escaped the Keldorians' initial neutralization sweep. Prepare for immediate departure, she instructed her executive officer, Commander Hiroshi Takeda. Load all reconnaissance equipment and arm the experimental countermeasure systems. Captain, we're receiving direct orders to stand down. Takeda responded, his voice tense. All space operations have been suspended pending negotiations. Maya paused, knowing the weight of her next words. The Aurora is humanity's only asset the Keldorians don't seem to know about. If we surrender now, we'll never understand what we're up against. She took a deep breath. Sometimes survival requires disobedience, Commander. Are you with me? 6 hours later, as diplomatic channels filled with increasingly desperate concessions, the Aurora silently detached from its lunar berth, running dark with minimal energy signatures. Using the moon as cover, they plotted an intercept course with the smallest Keldorian vessel on the fleet's outer perimeter. All systems nominal, reported systems engineer Dr. Eliza Kama. Passive sensors active, stealth protocols engage. They haven't detected us. Maya gripped the command chair as the alien vessel grew larger on their view screen. Let's get close enough to gather some real intelligence. Humanity needs to know exactly what kind of enemy we're facing, and whether they have any weaknesses we can exploit. The Aurora maintained position in the shadow of the Keldorian patrol vessel, its adaptive hull-absorbing sensor suites. Inside, Maya and her team studied the alien ship's energy emissions and communication patterns. Their hull material is unlike anything in our database, Dr. Kamau reported, analyzing spectroscopic readings. But their life support systems are generating unusual heat signatures. Lieutenant Sarah Okafor, the ship's xenobiologist, pointed to atmospheric readings. They're maintaining internal conditions at 0.7 Earth gravity, with an atmosphere rich in methane and significantly less oxygen than we require. And the ambient temperature is nearly 40 degrees Celsius. That suggests their homeworld is lighter than Earth, with a thinner, hotter atmosphere, Maya reasoned, which might explain their physical structure. Tall, thin frames would be advantageous in such conditions. Commander Takeda looked up from his console. Captain, I'm intercepting what appears to be an internal broadcast. It's not encrypted. They must not expect anyone to access their communications. The view screen displayed alien text alongside a crude translation algorithm's best guess. Images showed Keldorian officers brutally disciplining crew members of various non-Keldorian species. Their threatening punishment for inadequate performance, Takeda said grimly. These other species, they're slaves, not allies. Maya's jaw tightened. Copy everything. We need to understand their social structure as much as their technology. The reconnaissance mission took an unexpected turn when a smaller vessel docked with their target. The Aurora's sensors detected a brief security alert followed by unusual energy fluctuations. Something's happening, Okafor said. Those new arrivals, they're not Keldorians. Their biosignatures are completely different. Maya made a bold decision. Prepare boarding equipment. We're looking at some kind of internal conflict. This might be our only chance to gather first-hand intelligence. Hours later, Maya led a 4-person team through the emergency airlock they'd managed to access. The significantly higher gravity of Earth had prepared them well. They moved with surprising ease in the lighter Keldorian environment, though the heat and atmospheric composition necessitated compact breathing apparatus. They discovered the source of the disturbance. A group of reptilian beings had infiltrated the ship, apparently to steal technology. When the inevitable confrontation occurred, Maya's team was shocked to find themselves at a significant physical advantage. The Keldorians, evolved for a low-gravity environment, moved awkwardly in close combat. Even with advanced weapons, they struggled against the humans' superior strength and endurance. Their bones are like hollow carbon fiber, Okafor whispered after examining a fallen Keldorian. Efficient for their homeworld, but fragile compared to our dense skeletal structure. The reptilian infiltrators, calling themselves the Volwari, were equally surprised by the humans' capabilities. Their leader, a scared veteran named Shervak, regarded them with newfound respect. You move like predators, he hissed quietly. We have never seen species from high-gravity worlds resist the Keldorians. Most are crushed by their own weight on their conquered homeworlds. From Shervak, they learned of the resistance, dozens of subjugated species working in secret to undermine the Empire. The Keldorians maintained control through technological superiority and by deliberately keeping conquered species isolated from each other. You humans, Shervak said, examining Maya's team with vertical pupil eyes, may be exactly what the Resistance has waited for. You possess the physical capabilities the rest of us lack, and your world has not yet fallen. The United Earth Defense Council convened in a hardened underground facility beneath the Swiss Alps. Maya Chen's intelligence had transformed humanity's approach to the invasion. Screens displayed the Keldorian fleet positions while Dr. Elijah Nakamura, formerly the leading game theorist at DRPA, addressed the assembled military commanders. The Keldorians expect us to either surrender or launch a conventional counterattack, he explained, his voice calm despite the gravity of the situation. Their conquest methodology relies on technological superiority and psychological intimidation. They've never encountered a species that refused to play by their rules. General Santos scoffed. What choice do we have? Their ships can neutralize our nuclear weapons. We changed the game entirely, Nakamura replied, activating a holographic display. I've developed what I call the Earthswarm Protocol, a decentralized resistance model with no central command for them to target. The display showed hundreds of small, autonomous cells operating independently across the solar system. Each would be equipped with the knowledge to exploit Keldorian weaknesses, but would know nothing about other cells' operations or locations. We don't try to match their firepower, Nakamura continued. We employ asymmetric tactics, hit-and-run operations, sabotage, and intelligence gathering. Our goal isn't to win battles, but to make occupation so costly and frustrating that they reconsider the value of conquering Earth. Over the following weeks, the protocol was implemented globally. Small teams of special forces, engineers, and scientists were dispatched in stealth vessels throughout the solar system. The Aurora, now retrofitted with technology gleaned from the Keldorian patrol ship, served as the template for a new generation of vessels built in hidden facilities on Earth, the Moon, and Mars. Maya's crew led the first major operation, infiltrating a Keldorian mining facility on Ganymede. Rather than destroying it outright, they reprogrammed the automated systems to produce flawed materials that would pass initial quality checks but fail catastrophically when implemented in Keldorian technology. Similar operations unfolded across the solar system. A team in the asteroid belt hijacked drone freighters. Another group on Titan corrupted the Keldorians' deep space communication array. Each strike was carefully calculated to create maximum disruption with minimal resources. The Keldorians responded with increasing frustration. Their communiques, intercepted and translated by Earth intelligence, revealed growing confusion among their command structure. The humans do not behave as conquered species should, one Keldorian commander reported to his superior. They refuse large-scale engagement yet strike from unexpected vectors. Their physical resilience makes them difficult to eliminate when encountered. Standard pacification protocols are proving ineffective. Dr. Nakamura monitored the pattern of Keldorian responses, constantly adjusting the protocol to stay ahead of their adaptations. When they deployed automated hunter drones to track human vessels, resistance cells switched to utilizing asteroids as camouflaged bases. When they increased security at key facilities, humans focused on supply lines instead. "We're wearing them down," Maya reported during a secure transmission from the Aurora to the Defense Council. Their commanders are beginning to argue with each other about resource allocation. Several of their ships have been recalled to defend their core territories in other systems. "And our casualties?" asked President Alvarez. "Lower than projected," Maya answered. "They still underestimate human endurance and adaptability. Their weapons are designed for species from environments similar to their own. In close quarters, our teams consistently outperform their security forces." For the first time since the invasion began, a cautious optimism spread through Earth's leadership. They weren't winning, not yet, but they were surviving, and in ways the Keldorians had never anticipated. The Aurora drifted through the debris field of a destroyed Keldorian outpost near Saturn's rings. Captain Maya Chen sat in her quarters, reviewing the encrypted message from the Volari resistance leader Shervak. Their previous encounter had established a tentative connection, but this was different. An invitation to a clandestine gathering of resistance species. "It's almost certainly a trap," Commander Takeda argued during the officers' briefing. "We've been effective on our own. Why risk our most advanced ship?" "Because we're approaching the limits of what we can accomplish alone," Maya countered. "The Keldorians are adapting to our tactics. We need allies with insider knowledge." The coordinates led them to an abandoned mining facility hidden in a hollowed-out asteroid between Jupiter and Saturn. As they approached, sensors detected at least 7 distinct vessel types concealed throughout the asteroid field, all non-Keldorian designs. Inside the facility, representatives from across the Keldorian Empire had gathered. The insectoid Draven with their compound eyes and remarkable engineering skills, the luminescent Noor whose telepathic abilities made them natural strategists, the reptilian Volari warriors, and several other species Maya couldn't identify. Sharvak greeted them with cautious optimism. "The humans have arrived. They who refuse to kneel." Distrust was palpable as Maya's team entered the chamber. A tall, spindly Draven clicked its mandibles dismissively. "They are primitive newcomers. What can they offer that countless other conquered species could not? We've disrupted Keldorian operations throughout our system with minimal resources," Maya replied evenly, "and we're willing to share everything we've learned." The alliance negotiations were tense. Each species had suffered under Keldorian rule for generations, developing deep suspicions of outsiders. The Noor representative, a being of swirling light named Elishra, spoke directly into their minds. "Your thoughts are unusual. You prepare for failure even as you act with conviction of success. This duality is unfamiliar. We call it contingency planning. Dr. Nakamura explained. Humans excel at maintaining hope while acknowledging reality. Progress came slowly until a Keldorian patrol discovered their location. 3 warships converged on the asteroid, deploying boarding parties to capture the resistance leaders. In the chaos that followed, Maya made a decision that would alter the course of the resistance. A Draven colony ship carrying thousands of larvae had been hidden nearby. Its propulsion systems damaged, it couldn't escape the approaching Keldorians. Maya ordered the Aurora to provide cover, placing her vessel directly in the line of fire. "Captain, we can't withstand a direct assault from 3 warships," Lieutenant Rodriguez warned. "We just need to buy them enough time to reach the jump point," Maya replied, her voice steady as she activated the ship's experimental countermeasure systems. "Prepare for close-range engagement." What followed was a masterclass in human combat tactics. The Aurora, designed for stealth rather than warfare, executed a series of maneuvers that baffled the Keldorian commanders. They absorbed punishing hits while leading the warships away from the escaping colony vessel. When a critical system failure forced Maya to order her crew to evacuate in escape pods, she remained aboard to manually pilot the damaged vessel on a collision course with the lead Keldorian warship. The resulting explosion disabled 2 enemy vessels and allowed both the escaping Draven and the human crew to reach safety. 3 days later, when Commander Takeda led a recovery mission expecting to confirm his captain's death, they discovered Maya in a deteriorating emergency bubble, severely injured but alive. Her enhanced human physiology having sustained her through conditions that would have killed any other known species. In the aftermath, the Resistance Alliance solidified. The Draven, grateful for the salvation of their future generation, pledged their engineering expertise. The Noor offered their strategic insight, and the Valari their combat experience. For the first time, the various subjugated species began to see humans not as primitive newcomers, but as worthy leaders, beings whose physical resilience was matched by an equally remarkable spiritual resilience. Dr. Aisha Mbeki spent her 3rd consecutive day in the makeshift xenobiology lab aboard the Resistance Sanctuary Station, a repurposed mining facility hidden in the rings of Saturn. Around her, holographic displays showed the genetic and neurological structures of various species from across the Keldorian Empire. Most fascinating were the Keldorian samples themselves, painstakingly collected during covert operations. "Their entire nervous system is unlike anything we've seen," she explained to Maya, who was still recovering from injuries sustained during the Draven rescue. "It's almost as if they're designed for collective processing rather than individual thought." Maya studied the complex neural pathways, like a biological network. Precisely. The Keldorians evolved as semi-telepathic beings. Their command structure isn't just hierarchical, it's neurologically enforced. Lower-ranked Keldorians are neurologically subordinate to their superiors. This discovery prompted a deep investigation into Keldorian history, with Noor archivists providing access to restricted Imperial records. What they found shocked the Alliance leadership. They've been systematically exterminating or subjugating species with adaptive potential, Mbeki reported during the Alliance Council meeting. It's not just imperialism, it's existential fear. The historical records revealed a pattern spanning thousands of years. Any species demonstrating rapid learning, adaptation, or technological advancement was immediately targeted for conquest. Those showing particular intelligence or evolutionary potential were eliminated entirely. They fear competition, explained Ilisra, the Noor representative, her luminescent form pulsing with insight. Their empire is built on preventing the emergence of cognitive rivals. Your human adaptability represents their deepest nightmare. Commander Takeda frowned. But why? They're technologically superior to every species they've encountered. Because they weren't always dominant, replied Shervak, examining a historical record. The Keldorians themselves overthrew their former masters, the ascendancy after developing unexpected cognitive abilities. They're terrified of the same happening to them. This revelation provided both strategic insight and a potential vulnerability. The Keldorian Neural Network, the system that allowed their leaders to maintain perfect control over their military forces, was also their greatest weakness. Dr. Mbeki worked with Draven biochemists and Noor telepaths to develop a countermeasure. Not a traditional weapon, but something far more subversive. "We're creating a neurological disruptor," she explained, displaying molecular simulations. "It won't harm them physically, but it will temporarily sever their command connections. For a few crucial hours, their perfect coordination will collapse." Engineering the disruptor required precise understanding of Keldorian neurology. The team worked around the clock, testing synthetic compounds on tissue samples. Maya frequently found Mbeki asleep at her workstation, surrounded by molecular diagrams and simulation results. "We're not just fighting with physical weapons," Mbeki told Maya during a rare break. "We're fighting with knowledge. Understanding their biology, their psychology, their history. That's ultimately more powerful than any warship." The breakthrough came unexpectedly. A young Volari scientist, combining human theoretical models with Draven biochemistry, created a compound that could disrupt Keldorian neural synchronization without affecting other species. In controlled tests, it temporarily rendered Keldorian tissue samples incapable of transmitting their unique telepathic signals. "It's ready for field testing," Mbeki announced to the Alliance Council. "But deployment will be challenging. The compound needs to be released simultaneously near multiple command nodes throughout the Empire." Maya, fully recovered and radiating determination, stood before the assembled representatives. "Then we'll need to coordinate the most ambitious operation in the history of the Resistance. Every species, every cell, working in perfect synchronization. Ironically, the very thing we're trying to deny the Keldorians." She surveyed the diverse faces before her. "If we succeed, we'll create a window of opportunity unlike anything the Empire has ever faced." The council chambers erupted in a cacophony of voices, clicks, and telepathic pulses as representatives debated the feasibility of such an operation. But beneath the concerns and objections, a new emotion permeated the Resistance, something that had been absent until humanity joined their struggle. Hope. Nexus Station hung in orbit above a gas giant at the edge of the Keldorian Empire's 7th sector. A massive structure of gleaming metal and pulsing energy fields, it served as the command hub coordinating all Keldorian military operations in Earth's region of space. Lieutenant Commander Jackson Wade studied the holographic representation of the station, memorizing access points and patrol patterns. "The intelligence is solid," he assured the gathered strike team leaders. "Our informants within the station have confirmed the location of the neural amplification chamber. Once we deploy Dr. Mbeki's disruptor there, it will cascade throughout the regional command structure." The operation represented the Alliance's most ambitious effort yet, synchronized strikes against 7 Keldorian command centers across the Empire, with Nexus Station as the primary target. Weeks of preparation had gone into the mission, with each species contributing their unique capabilities. Draven engineers had modified the Aurora with enhanced stealth technology and countermeasures against Keldorian detection systems. Newer strategists had mapped the psychological profiles of the station's command staff, identifying likely responses to various scenarios. Volari infiltrators had already positioned themselves as laborers within the station, ready to disable key security systems. Wade, who had assumed command after Maya's apparent sacrifice, carried the additional weight of maintaining the alliance his captain had forged. Though she had survived, her injuries required extensive recovery, forcing her to direct operations from the sanctuary station. "Remember," Wade told his team as they prepared to board their assault craft, "timing is everything. The disruptor must be deployed within the synchronized window, or the Keldorians will adapt their neural frequencies." The approach to Nexus Station proceeded with textbook precision. The Aurora, running dark, slipped past outer defenses using gravitational lensing to mask its signature. Draven communications specialists intercepted and looped security transmissions, creating the illusion that everything remained normal. The insertion team, comprising humans, Volari, and Noor operatives, penetrated the station through a maintenance airlock. Human physiology proved crucial once again. The station's elevated temperatures and reduced gravity, designed for Keldorian comfort, gave Wade's team enhanced endurance and strength relative to the defenders. Security drones, Section 14, reported Specialist Helena Kwan over the tactical channel. Moving to intercept. Negative. Wade countered. Maintain course. Our Volari allies will handle them. True to his word, the security drones suddenly changed direction, their programming subtly altered by embedded Volari technicians. Throughout the station, similar small advantages accumulated. A door that opened when it should have remained locked, sensors that reported empty corridors despite intruder presence, communication breakdowns between security teams. The strike team encountered resistance at the approach to the neural amplification chamber, elite Keldorian guards equipped with advanced weaponry. Wade signaled for the specialized tactics they had developed. Gravity advantage, he commanded, and the human members of the team executed a series of high-velocity maneuvers impossible for Keldorians to match in the station's artificial gravity. While the guards' weapons tracked human standard movements, Wade's team operated with Earth-born speed and force, overwhelming the defenders. Dr. Mbiki's neural disruptor, a deceptively small device containing billions of engineered nanoparticles, was successfully placed within the chamber's central processing unit. Wade verified the deployment and transmitted the confirmation code to Alliance headquarters. Disruptor activated. Nexus station is compromised. Beginning exfiltration. Across the Empire, similar confirmations arrived from other strike teams. As the neural disruptor took effect, the once perfect coordination of Keldorian forces dissolved into confusion. Command ships lost contact with their fleets. Occupation forces found themselves unable to receive orders. The elaborate neural network that had maintained Imperial control for millennia temporarily collapsed. Almost immediately, uprisings erupted on dozens of subjugated worlds. Species that had lived under Keldorian rule for generations seized the opportunity to reclaim their independence. Resistance cells, previously operating in isolation, launched coordinated strikes against vulnerable Keldorian installations. Aboard the Aurora, Wade monitored the cascade of events with a mixture of triumph and anxiety. Phase 1 complete, he reported to Maya. The Empire is in chaos, but they'll recover eventually, and they'll be angry. Maya's voice came through clearly despite the distance. Then we'd better make the most of this window. All cells, execute liberation protocols. The real war begins now. Part 7. The Empire Strikes Back. The victory celebrations across liberated worlds lasted less than 2 standard weeks before the Keldorian response began. Captain Maya Chen, watching from the command center of the Alliance headquarters, felt a chill as the reports came in. The Harbinger fleet has been activated, announced the Noor communications specialist, her luminous form dimming with dread. All 7 dreadnoughts are on direct course for human space. Maya's recovery had progressed enough for her to resume active command, though the scars from her near sacrifice remained visible. She studied the tactical display showing the massive Keldorian vessels, planet killers designed specifically to make examples of rebellious systems. The Archon himself has issued the extermination order, added Sharvak, the Volari commander. Earth is to be reduced to molten slag as a warning to all who would challenge Imperial authority. Dr. Mbiki's neural disruptor had worked perfectly, but its effects were temporary by design. The Keldorian command structure had reorganized more ruthless than before. The Empire had never faced such a comprehensive challenge to its authority, and its response was proportionately severe. How long until they reach Earth? Wade asked, his face grim. 3 standard days, replied the Draven navigator, manipulating the holographic projection. Their quantum drives are operating at full capacity. The Alliance leadership debated desperate options. Their forces, though growing, remained outmatched against the Empire's most powerful weapons. The Harbinger fleet had destroyed entire civilizations, leaving nothing but debris fields where thriving worlds once existed. As the council meeting descended into arguments and recriminations, the command center's security protocol activated. All eyes turned to the entrance as a small, unscheduled transport docked with the station. The security feed showed a single figure emerging. Maya Chen. "Captain," Wade asked in confusion, looking between the newcomer and the Maya standing beside him. The new arrival removed her helmet, revealing an identical face to the station's commander, though considerably more battered and with a prosthetic left eye. "Lieutenant Commander," she acknowledged with a nod. "I believe you've been keeping my seat warm." Chaos erupted as security forces surrounded the apparent imposter. Newer telepaths immediately probed both women's minds, while Draven scientists conducted rapid genetic scans. The results confirmed the impossible. Both were Maya Chen, identical down to their DNA. "Time dilation," explained the newly arrived Maya, once the initial shock subsided. "What has been months for you has been years for me. When my ship collided with the Keldorian warship, I was thrown into a temporal anomaly created by their experimental drive system." She activated a data crystal containing information that stunned the Alliance leadership. Detailed scans of Keldorian homeworlds, command protocols, and most crucially, the location of the psychic nexus that served as the foundation of all Keldorian telepathic communication. "I've spent 3 subjective years infiltrating the heart of their empire," she explained. "The Harbinger fleet is merely a distraction. The true vulnerability lies in their collective consciousness." Her plan was audacious. While the Alliance forces engaged the Harbinger fleet in a holding action, a small strike team would infiltrate the heavily guarded world housing the psychic nexus. Using a refined version of Dr. Miki's neural disruptor, they would not merely interrupt the Keldorian command structure, but fundamentally alter it. "This isn't just about survival anymore," the time-displaced Maya told her counterpart. "We have a chance to end their empire permanently, not by destroying them, but by breaking the neurological chains that bind their society to endless conquest." As the twin captains conferred, Alliance vessels throughout human space prepared for what would likely be their final stand. Outposts were evacuated, civilian populations moved to hardened shelters, and every available ship was armed for combat. Earth's defensive grid, enhanced with Draven and Voleri technology, powered up to full capacity. The first Harbinger dreadnought appeared at the edge of the solar system exactly when predicted, its massive silhouette blotting out the stars as it prepared to deliver the Archon's vengeance. Lieutenant Commander Wade stood on the bridge of the Aurora, watching as the Allied fleet formed a defensive line between Earth and the approaching Harbinger dreadnoughts. Ships of a dozen different designs, human vessels alongside Voleri raiders, Draven carriers, and hastily retrofitted civilian craft, prepared for what many believed would be their final battle. "They've entered weapons range," reported Lieutenant Quan. "Energy signatures indicate they're charging main cannons." Wade took a deep breath. "Deploy countermeasures as planned. Remember, we don't need to win. We just need to buy time." Across the solar system, the battle unfolded with desperate intensity. The Alliance forces employed every tactic developed during their guerrilla campaign: electromagnetic pulse weapons targeting Keldorian shield generators, kinetic strikes from hidden asteroid bases, and swarms of microdrones that infiltrated hull breaches to disrupt internal systems. Despite these innovations, the Harbinger fleet pushed inexorably forward. The first Earth outpost on Ganymede fell silent as a dreadnought's primary weapon reduced the moon's surface to molten rock. Alliance vessels, fighting with remarkable coordination, managed to disable a Keldorian destroyer but suffered grievous losses in the process. Meanwhile, billions of miles away, the twin Mayas led the infiltration team toward the heart of Keldorian space. The time-displaced Maya, with her intimate knowledge of Imperial security protocols, guided them through scanner nets and automated defense systems. The present timeline Maya, together with Dr. Mbeki, prepared the modified neural disruptor designed to reach the psychic nexus itself. "We're approaching the central chamber," the time-displaced Maya whispered as they navigated the cavernous halls of the Keldorian Ancestral Temple. The Nexus is heavily guarded, not just by soldiers, but by mental barriers. Inside the chamber, they discovered the truth that had been hidden for millennia. The psychic nexus wasn't merely a communication system. It was a living entity, a vast organic computer composed of the preserved consciousness of the original Keldorian masters who had overthrown the Ascendancy eons ago. Their prisoners, Dr. Mbiki realized, scanning the biological structure. The collective consciousness of the first rebels, forced to serve as the foundation for the very empire they tried to prevent. As alliance forces across the galaxy fought their desperate holding action, Maya made a fateful decision. Instead of simply disrupting the Nexus, she established direct contact with it, using newer telepathic technology to bridge the gap between human and Keldorian consciousness. The experience nearly shattered her mind, but in that moment of connection, she accessed the complete history of the Keldorian Empire, including the truth of their origins, not as conquerors, but as slaves who had overthrown their masters only to become that which they had fought against. With tremendous effort, Maya broadcast this truth throughout the empire, reaching the mind of every Keldorian simultaneously, not as an attack, but as an offering, the gift of forgotten history and a vision of what could be. In Earth's solar system, the Harbinger fleet faltered mid-attack. Keldorian commanders, receiving the psychic broadcast, found themselves confronting the contradiction at the heart of their civilization. Many immediately stood down, refusing to perpetuate the cycle of dominance and fear. The Archon, in his fortress palace on the Imperial throne world, attempted to reassert control, but found his neurological connection to his subordinates fundamentally altered. For the first time in recorded history, lower-ranked Keldorians were capable of questioning orders rather than being neurologically compelled to obey. What followed was not a surrender but a transformation. Across the Empire, Keldorian commanders made individual choices, many choosing to end hostilities, others fighting on, but now acting from personal conviction rather than programmed loyalty. 3 standard months later, representatives from across the former empire gathered on neutral territory, an ancient space station predating even Keldorian civilization. Human diplomats sat alongside Keldorian moderates, Dravan engineers, Noor philosophers, and delegates from dozens of formerly subjugated worlds. Maya Chen, now bearing the marks of both timelines merged into a single consciousness, addressed the gathering. We stand at the beginning of something unprecedented, not an empire ruled by fear, but a federation founded on mutual respect. We've all been both victims and perpetrators at different points in our histories. The question now is whether we can become something more. The resulting Galactic Federation became a new model of interstellar cooperation, one where Earth played a central role not because of military might or technological supremacy, but because humans had demonstrated the capacity to understand both the will to survive and the necessity of compassion. As the Federation Charter was signed, Maya looked to the stars with newfound hope. The Aurora, recommissioned as a diplomatic vessel rather than a warship, prepared for its next mission, to explore the unknown reaches of the galaxy, not as conquerors or the conquered, but as representatives of a new way forward for all sentient life.